council, the sky split with fire as Andreotti flew swift to the stars. The marshal had called him with grave, keen desire, a meeting of minds that still carried old scars. My friend, you are hiding, there's something you're veiling. What game are you playing? What truth do you flee? The silence you keep is a shadow prevailing, and silence like that brings no good, can't you see? I know that your dreams are invaded by sorrow, by specters of death in the depths of the night. The line that divides nobody from tomorrow, from sin, is as thin as a strand of moonlight. I know not, dear Marshal, what stirs your suspicion, nor what your sharp mind has presumed in its scheme. But let us abandon this tearful contrition. No room for our feelings where intellect gleams. When thought intertwines with both time and dimension and shows us the devil's insidious plan, I must bear this burden despite apprehension. For freedom I lie and deceive when I can. I sense that you know what the citadel's hiding, the power that waits like a beast in the mist. And tremble you should, for the force it's providing knows no moral bounds when it circuits pursues. It's strange, dear Professor, that you would consider that evil can never be cured with more sin. Your conscience imprisoned grows colder and thinner, enslaved by the logic you forge deep within. Have you so forgotten the truths of our making, the values the Alliance once held as its soul, the balance of duty and love in its waking, now lost to the hunger for cold-minded goals? I see only nerves made of wire and metal, no empathy left in your soldierly creed. A grip like the jaws of a steel-biting kettle, and fleets of the foe that forever proceed. Your claims of morality, preach them to circuits, to silent machines that have never known grace. They've purged countless systems and offered no verdicts, just ashes and silence remain in their place. I see in the fog realms of infinite order, where scholars in shadow control every fate, and space itself weeps at the edge of their border, when secrets emerge far too deadly to late. I see the same threat, but your cure is a terror, a soul sold to devils to keep demons out. Can't you admit there is something in error? This path that you walk, is it paved with your doubt? You battle the dragon, yet become what you fight. Each tyrant you slay births a tyrant again. Another will rise in a blood-soaked delight, enthroned in the ruins and cloaked in our pain. Perhaps, as you said, I become what I battle, a monster but forged for a purpose at hand. Not words but in steel I will rattle the shackles and save us from threats that you can't understand. We could bow our heads to a ruthless oppressor, or stand and defy him with fire and flame. And if such a road makes the truth any lesser, then that is the price of not living in shame. You speak in extremes with a mind ever turning, from one end to another you swing like a blade, but deeper and darker your thoughts keep on churning. enter. The end crowns the one who dares see it through. The people sing songs of the bold who would enter. The fire, not sages who ponder what's true. I'll follow my heart through the chaos and thunder and crush what would threaten the hope that remains. For talk about tears of the child torn asunder is made by the ones who have never known pain. And so, as I leave you, remember this token, the vow that we made in the first days of flame. While I still draw breath, let no fear be awoken. You must not fear war in the Empire's name.
History, we bow our head. We fight on the edge of the sacred one's dread. Where's the scientist ship? Systems are mute. It's happened before, a surprise, a pursuit. The thunder of cannons, the flames on the hull, and squadrons ignite like a fire through the goals, and feel like a pulse in the circuits of war. Runs wild in the nerves of command evermore. Crimson skies glowing with dread overhead. Screams of the sirens like souls of the dead. screen grows to threat like a star. Steel walls of ships form a resolute ring, and hands start to tremble with blood that will sing. And now, like in ages of legend and lore, our heartbeat counts seconds, just seconds, no more. And like in a nightmare too vivid, too deep, our mind is rebelling, refusing to sleep. Technicians rush past in the engine room's hum, and nerves coil tight, interceptors must run. And the flag, like a blade that a guillotine kiss, slides down in the hand of the signalman's best. Corvettes raise the shields, hold the escorting line. You're the spear of defense in this moment divine. And beyond us, a void freezing, silent, unknown. And orders like thunder through chaos are thrown. Now silence is broken, he's coming our way through the vacuum of space with infernal array. And the hearts of the anxious, deceived by despair, still whisper our role is unfinished out there. The buttons are blinking with countdowns to fire, and all that is useless is lost in the pyre. One purpose remains in the world we defend. There is no outside, no other, no end. If we are to vanish in darkness tonight, forget all the sorrows of history's blight. We're here in the now, not a dream, not a tale. We'll fall with a smile where the gods cannot fail. We see in our dreams bubbles rise from the sea, and torpedoes strike down our own in the night. And the eyes of the drowned in the wake silently were born from the helm that once turned to the fight. We hear the alarms of bewildered hearts as the dive bombers scream through the sky like a flame, and the decks burn with hellfire tearing apart. This fate is our own, and it knows us by name.
Meanwhile, Sartre, advisor, both cunning and wise, to the lord of the cluster where sandstorms arise, sent his nephew, young Nimrod, to faraway lands, to fix what the greed of the merchants demands. With a heart that was heavy, but duty-bound still, he ascended the ship by Nemoidan's will. as he sailed into fate in the heart of his fear. Before me lie roads stretching far to the sky. I am naked and free like a lark overhead. But then why, mighty gods, did you lift me so high? Just to dash me in dust, full of hope yet half dead. I don't know what my foolish thoughts seek in that night. Why I pray to the stars with my soul in despair. Like a flag in dead calm with no wind left to fight. My emotions hang limp, neither here nor yet there. When low truths crush the height of our youthful desire, we are taught to betray what we once called our own. Though the spirit longs flight, bitter thoughts will conspire to make sure we look down, feel ashamed and alone. I would ride into battle with visor flung high, storming through the abyss, past the edge of the world, where the mountains of knowledge like gravestones would lie, killing those who once soared with their wings tightly furled. I would follow a duke to strange stars far away, feel the fire burn hot on my temples and brow, and renouncing the things I once cherished each day, cross my blade with cold death in the alien clouds. Under banners of Paul in the thick of the fight, I would shine in full armor, defying my fate, where the line between failure and triumph is tight, and we battle for glory while standing too late. Let the dreaming now crumble, the stones in my hand filled a chalice with sorrow and brimmed it with pain, with a poison so bitter no soul could withstand, nor release it in blood on the fields of the slain. All ambitions and dreams that old pages once sparked, like dead fish in the mud when the tide has withdrawn, now just feed bored out birds in the silence half marked, as the breath of their meaning is already gone. All my youth, all my strength, all my passion and pride will not shine on a field under banners and drums. On the altar of Plutus, like death by my side, lies the love that once burned in my soul till it numbs. Now the stars are replaced by the gold in my hand, and the
shadows and corridors grim came Harek's chief mind at SUNO's own command, with a message that made all the starlight grow dim. A storm was approaching the heart of their land. The truth is now lost in the folds of the past. Was it Andreotti who whispered of war? Though silence remains, there are rumors that last. He met with the hairs behind secretive doors. A man had arrived, not in flesh but in light. A hologram pulsing with urgent transmission. In a cloak like a bishop's, all crimson and bright. He appeared like a herald of blood and perdition. A white mask was veiled by the hood on his brow. Every word like a hammer fell ringing and hollow. He was eerie, absurd, yet compelling somehow. Though he forced his grim tone, none were eager to follow. He declared that the shadows were starting to swell, that the technocrats' plots made the cosmos keep crying, that salvation had fled and the world's under spell, and that fear of the yawning abyss was undying. There is nowhere to hide in the vastness of space, not a corner of peace from the storm that is nearing, and no comforting words nor a merciful face. Only battles can save what we still hold endearing. He demanded we march on the pathway of flame, claimed that Paul was already ahead on the tower, that the quiet was dead and what peace ever came, and the living are named in the last dying hour. Then he added, behold, by the edge of our land lies the realm of the citadel, cold and unyielding. Soon the wind will be filled with torn pages like sand, and the skies will resound with the thunder of shielding. A clandestine cluster, a legion of minds, woven deep in the webwork of knowledge forbidden. Like a dragon asleep in the cave where time binds, they await the command to arise from the midden. And the weight of their thought, like a slow crushing tide, can emerge with the breath of a will that is burning. If but one of us dares to let valor decide, all the armies of war will awaken, returning. If fate grants us a gift wrapped in terrible truth, and we know what the scientists dream in their hiding, let us strike with the blade of preemptive bold ruth, ourselves thinking the cold is a place for abiding. Demon cluster, he said, is the source of their lore, where their dangerous visions are given their framing. Speak, O leader, command us to open the door. Let the trumpet now wail, let the saber start flaming.
as the fleet of Hokusai engaged, the cruiser of scientists reckless and wild, the Jurnuskan broadcast, his voice was enraged to keep every viewer informed and beguiled.
Hokusai fleet entered the orbit of sacred domain. A desperate swarm in formation so neat. The corvettes now balance the scales of the strain. The planet's last shield is sent to the gate, obeying a fatal and final command. Like comets in gold as they burn in their fate, the ships leave bright scars on the sky overhead. Corvettes in escort, unshaken remain. Their carrier stands through the fire and lead. Steel-hearted heroes endure through the pain. They charge through the storm where the fearless have bled. Alert, we report the first tragic loss. A heavy ship fell in a glorious blaze. Through Tartarus gates, iron doors split across. A fire burrows like a nuke with no name. No date on corvettes, silence is deep. We wait with our hearts frozen still for their fate. The fog of the battle in shadows does creep, and hides acts of courage the stars won't negate. Update, they're alive, each corvette survives. They weathered the blaze in the boiling abyss. Though armor was scorched where the hellfire drives, they carry the crown of survival like this.
But what of the capital? Orbit's not clear. The enemies bask in the joy they have won. That cruiser of madness is drawing in near, and soon it may rain down its fire on the sun.
Corvettes now respond, they hover above. They've taken back orbit, the cruiser is gone. It vanished like lightning or sorrowful love. Obeyeth the lost in the dawn's burning yawn. But where is the cruiser of scientists mad? Where aims their next sting? What stars will they burn? How many constellations blazing and sad will suffer before they no longer return?
It's gone, dissolved into vacuum and night. Observers stay silent on planets nearby, like fingers that grope for a last-ditch fight. Cold hands of despair reach for guns from the sky. How long till it strikes? Is danger still here? When will their next blow like a fencer's own blade bring galaxies trembling in fever and fear? A slow burning terror in silence relay.
Attention, clarifications now flow. The plot may be turning a curious way. Some circles suggest, though we don't fully know, the cruiser of scientists died in the fray.
Latest reports from the wreckage sites say, among shattered hulls and their uniforms torn, were fragments of alien matter and clay from worlds that were never by Fungians born.
So it appears that the cruiser's been lost, destroyed in the battle, a boiling spear, and trimmed like a clipper at terrible cost. It vanished in war's ever blistering spear. Now footage appears from the capital's core. The people rejoice and the fanfares resound like birds made of hope flying in from the war. The news finds the hearts where the darkness was drowned.
alerts report the foe has been cracked. Their mightiest gamble has met its defeat. But rumors arise, the fleet that was sacked may soon be rebuilt and return to compete.
The Fungians now brace for battles ahead. All pauses, we wait for the clash to ignite. The fleets move in silence where no one has tread, and soon comes the fire, the end of the night. This ain't just a threat. New radar alarms, two cruisers approach from the void once again. Our triumphs may morph into nightmare and harms. I'm fainting, I need a whole regiment's men.
Lost in Demeter's cold shade, a cruiser fell silent beneath dying stars. The council convened as the silence decayed, to reckon with ruin and measure new scars. Greetings, my colleagues, we face a condition that none in the Citadel dares to call light. The signs are aligned in a dire premonition. Our cluster may vanish in infinite night. A spiral that threatens to pull us below, and under the weight of the crisis now gripping, we'll need to enact an emergency flow. A colleague recall how Demeter once rallied. Her fleets were rebuilt from the ashes of fear. At word of command they shall swiftly be rallied, and charge to the stars with their headache made clear. The cruiser was lost, yes, a tragic endeavor, but two came to take its abandoned domain. We see victory shaping the starfield forever, as long as our flagship remains in the main. Agreed, but you've skipped a more subtle disaster, a factor that always escapes your design. Like runaway cores that dissolve ever faster, our image collapsed from the rot in our spine. The terror we cast to the stars far and wide, through thundering march of our steel-minded hosts, has faded, and now as the dark turns the tide, let Citadel brace for what's coming the most. Permit me, but still, in the Neo domain, we've cleansed a whole sector of critical worlds. The squadrons from Darus, like Broncos insane, go down in bright fire as their final flanks whirl. New fleets have been posted, corvettes by the score, from vassal-born planets now sworn to our cause. The enemy teeters an inch from death's door. Reinforcements arrive with a thunderous pour. But still, though crusaders are far, 7 fierce nations now sharpen their blades. Their swords like Damocles glint like a star, and loom on the edge of our shimmering shades. Our spies have reported 100 have searched, corvettes now advancing with reckless intent, and even with knowledge that stars have diverged, what use is pure logic against what's been said? Colleague's tempo of shipyard design will match the arrival of hostile fleets, yet we'll bolster our lines with precision and spine, and rise rise to the threat with no reason to fret.
Per plans that were drafted and budgets aligned, we double our fleets in a matter of weeks. No flaw in our shielding, no gap left behind, no front left exposed to the chaos it sees. Yet still you presume with a script simulation that war can be won by predictive routines. But real are the scars of our last devastation, more vivid than all of our digital dreams. A living commander with instinct and flair will outmatch the codes of a soldierless war. And soon, like the titans who fell in despair, our fleet will be wreckage, forgotten folklore. Stay calm, fellows, minds. The tech is still burning with power unrivaled by flesh, bone, or steel. Like gods of Olympus, we strike without warning. With fire and vengeance our enemies feel. Yet still I must ask, what makes you so sure that Paul will not join in this gathering storm? For once he steps in, he'll seek to secure a fortress of power, his empire reborn. We've planned for that too, and with many worlds loyal, our vassals will fuel our ascension in kind. Our science will rise past the limits of toil and shake the foundations of matter and mind. But will there be time for the regent to fly through millions of stars with his mandate in hand? What if, like a tempest that darkens the sky, Lord Paul strikes us here before we can stand? Damn you, good colleague, you always confound each question we pose with a riddle in turn. This council is ended, let silence resound. To work now, my friend, for the cosmos shall burn. While Paul's mighty fleet through the darkness did dart, its engines ablaze in a furious flight, a storm in their eyes and a fire in each heart, they sped to the core, defying the night.
Full power ahead, let the engines be burning. Let darkness retreat in the depth of the night. We're queens on the board and the tide now is turning. Checkmate is our fate, and our cause is the right. Through hum of the cores and the sensors' vibration, command speed in time with the pulse of our chest, and silence that follows each bold declaration strikes fear in our foes. They will never find right. Constellations, parsecs, and deep stellar mazes, the galaxy's heart wrapped in fire and flame. They never expected such storm as it blazes. It burst in
question they dare not to name. And staring ahead where the great odds arise, they'll ponder the truth burning deep in our eyes. Yeah, they'll read of defiance that forced through the fate and seek what it was made us breach heaven's gate. For into the dark came that terrible sound, a cry of the new year forever bound. So hear us, descendants, it wasn't for pride, nor gold, nor revenge for the blood that was dried, but something within us that silenced the light and told us that goodness had fled from the night. Yeah. We fly to the stars with a singular soul, where silence is broken by fire and roll, where scorned by the will of the cosmos insane, the borders dissolve between darkness and flame. The fleet force for war like the end of all days, with fire in veins and with steel in our gaze, now rushes relentless to ends we defy, a tide of cold edges that scream through the sky. Let void ever tremble, let madness take hold, let specters of cosmos grow violent and bold, and angels of darkness, or maybe of light, shall sing what is sung in the heat of the fight. The snarl of fate never frightened the damned, who'd long since forgotten the fear in their hands. And dead is the will of the desperate few, now forged into swords made of iron and doom. Meanwhile, aboard the new cruiser's command, the Citadel's minds shape Demeter's advance. They issued their orders with strategy planned and moved every fleet like a blade in the dance. Now
Everything's ready, comrades, to motion. The columns advance from our vassal-born stars. Decisions are final, no fear and no notion of failure. 2 cruisers await in the dark. Demeter's fleet, 4 squadrons are streaming, deployed and aligned, 50 units ignite. We strike like the atoms in turbulence screaming, a storm of charged particles blazing with might. Our target is clear, we attack without pardon, a cluster of planets where factories run. If they have defense, it resembles a garden, too weak to withstand what we launch from the gun. The radar reflections like Sauron's own vision now sweep through the silence where particle weeds like thrones crack and fall. Let God's face derision. We came from the void to unmake what it keeps. A large new anomaly, high-rated hazard, uncharted objects approach with no trail, no panic. Proceed by the combatant standard, aim steady, all forward, and never let fail. Gravitic distortion, the sensors are choking. Could be a fleet or a field gone astray. Stay focused, no wild emotional poking. Let order decide what the chaos will play. That foe is a lamb on the pyre we summon. Let science demand blood to honor the quest. He's pilot, will show what he's made of. A summon while nerves sink so tense they could shatter the chest. Report from the spies, cruiser signals emerging. 4 clusters have entered the heart of the zone. They slip through unnoticed, too silent, too surging. Is Paul and his fleet, they have reached the deep bone. Compose yourselves, comrades, this isn't despairing. 4 ships are too small for our ranks to be scared. Release all the corvettes, no falter, no sparing. The vice shall collapse with its iron jaws bared. Now message, they're heading for core fabrication. 1 factory world is their bold hollow mark. Perfection, they've shown us their full revelation. We see through their plans, it's as clear as the dark. We've analyzed movement, adjustments awaiting. Redirect the columns, prepare for new aim. We'll push like a wave, ever faster, inflating. We surf, dive through hyperfull tunnels of flame. Let 4 turfed squadrons out, strike from the flanks, and bite at the armor till rivets explode. Let drones capture glory and hull of all tanks as blood paints the clouds in a digital code. New word from our agents, we found a commander. It's Daryl, the vassal who yields to their king. Enlists their core fleet, their hopeful defender, to lift the ground bird, lit the molten seed string. Most radars to max, all the cloakers engaging. Sweet planets with beams till no crevice remains. I hear ghostly echoes of screamers uncaging. Our timing is spin, but we hold to the chains. Alert from the 4th, there's a threat closing quickly. 10 cycles away on a bearing so near. 1 cruiser, no 9, and they're moving so slickly. We're fleeing before they can target our spear. Colleagues, adjust, new directive unfolding. We move in assistance, set vector and course. No, too late, already their grip is beholding. We've brained an exhausted maneuvering force. Far into chasms of war space uncharted, the hulls start to boil in acceleration. And hundreds of pilots now flame unhearted. Alert flesh cannot hold through annihilation. Squadron report, do you copy? Respond, what losses position? Do signals remain? And lovers will weep for the gone far beyond. A silence reclaims what once hung with their flame. Now silence, the corvettes have vanished forever. They numbered in 2s and in 3s, 23. And doubt, like a lie, will return never, never. For something inside weeps too quiet to see. Then howling erupts from the deep cursed dimension, where fate now is twisted, the balance in skies. Remember the truths of the Citadel's mission. Reason that dies when ambition
Daryl's grand fleet forged legends untold. Daryl, the king's loyal knight by decree, pursued his liege glory both steadfast and bold, determined his equal in triumph to be. We shatter the mountains, the stars we outshine. Our breath is destruction, our power unfolds. We're angels of terror, of death the divine, creation of darkness, the void and the cold. Let crimson flames rise, let the fire consume, let enemy flesh feel the scorch and the burn. The wreckage will trail like a banner of doom as lasers cause scars that no armor can turn. From hyperspace depth we emerge in a flash, with light years behind us the fleets reappear. Prepare our torpedoes, the cannons will clash. Our ships face their fate with no tremble, no fear. The ether now trembles with thunderous might as battles ignite by the king's royal fleet. Our hearts ever noble are drawn to the fight, yet yearn for the earth where its pulse softly beats. The foe splits their forces in desperate retreat. Four flanks torn asunder, their corvettes collide. Our refuels reactors in fiery heat as fervor propels us to war, side by side. Demeter now sharpens a venomous sting, aimed straight at the heart of the factory worlds. Through visor and void like a blade we will swing. Our strike leave them shattered, their banners unfurled. Let enemy columns maneuver in vain. In circling shadows their trap is too late. We're bait for their ambush, unwavering plain. The plan is in motion and sealed is their fate. The king's mighty fleet, our dominion's great force, lies poised for the blow that will shatter their pride. Their downfall approaches, relentless, no course can save them from death's icy grip and hell's tide. Far off in the void, through the graveyard of stars, 9 cruisers still follow where Paul's fleet has led. Our enemies soon will know ruin and scars, and perish in glory as gods strike them dead.
The echoes resound in the dark, cold abyss. The king's voice proclaims it, their fleet is no more. We strip them to nothing, their fragments amiss, reduced into silence, erased by our war. 24 corvettes disappear in the black, their scattered remains drift through infinite night. The skeletal wrecks in their final attack will vanish forever, consumed by the fight. The scent of the bloodshed, the rubies of eyes, the hands on the helm burn with feverish thrill. Save what you can salvage, your battle hope dies. The squall of destruction will crash on you still. Ahead lies a squadron, 13 ships in line. Their corvettes are bracing for one hopeless stand. Our cannons strike true with precision divine and tear through their hulls like a hammering hand. Let enemy fleets break and scatter in fear in streams of photonic unyielding death rays, where demons of vengeance the end drawing near, while they're just the meat for our unholy blades. Our radars detect them, 2 cruisers appear. Could it be this technocrat citadel's pride? For ships that to crush them retreat, disappear. You'll die if you linger, escape while you may. Escape while you may.
The spy's latest whispers from system the far. The foe has been routed, their forces dispersed. Our triumphs will echo in legend and star, and fireworks will light up the heavens, immersed.
while Paul's grand fleet forged legends untold. Daryl, the king's loyal knight by decree, pursued his liege's glory both steadfast and bold, determined his equal in triumph.
We shatter the mountains, the stars we outshine. Our breath is destruction, our power unfolds. We're angels of terror, of death the divine, creation of darkness, the void and the cold. We emerge in a flash. With light years behind us, the fleets reappear. Prepare all torpedoes, the cannons will clash. Our ships face their fate with no tremble, no fear. The ether now trembles with thunderous might, as battles ignite by the king's royal fleet. Our hearts ever noble are drawn to the fight, yet yearn for the earth where its pulse softly beats. The foe splits their forces in desperate retreat. Four flanks torn asunder, their corvettes collide. Our wrath fuels reactors in fiery heat, as fervor propels us to war side by side. Demeter now sharpens her venomous sting, aims straight at the heart of their factory worlds. Through visor and void like a blade we will swing. Our strike leaves them shattered, their banners unfurled. Let enemy columns maneuver in vain. Encircling shadows, their trap is too late. We're bait for their ambush, unwavering plain. The plan is in motion and sealed is their fate. The king's mighty fleet, our dominion's great force, lies poised for the blow that will shatter their pride. Their downfall approaches relentless, no course can save them from death's icy grip and hell's tide. Far off in the void, through the graveyard of stars, 9 cruisers still follow where Paul's fleet has led. Our enemies soon will know ruin and scars, and perish in glory as God strike them dead. The echoes resound in the dark, cold abyss. The king's voice proclaims it, their fleet is no more. We strip them to nothing, their fragments amiss, reduced into silence, erased by a
2 corvettes disappear in the black. Their scattered remains drift through infinite night. The skeletal wrecks in their final attack will vanish forever, consumed by the fire.
The scent of the bloodshed, the rubies of eyes, the hands on the helm burn with feverish thrill. Save what you can salvage, your battle hope dies.
The squall of destruction will crash on you still.
Ahead lies a squadron, 13 ships in line. Their corvettes are racing for one hopeless stand. Our cannons strike true with precision
Saga's latest whispers from systems afar. The foe has been routed, their forces dispersed. Our triumphs will echo in legend and star. And fireworks will light up the heavens, immersed.
Fungiland skies, King Paul did descend. His fleet struck Demeter, its forces to end. To cheers from the masses, their victor stood tall, as rulers escorted him into the hall of the Maker, where fate is unsealed, its secrets untold and forever concealed. What horrors transpired, no mortal can say. Those men left in silence, faces pale with dismay. I'm here, I've descended, I reign everlasting. My scepter I bear through the ages of time. All things that defy me shall meet desolation, in radiant suns or in shadows sublime. I march with my banner held high in its glory. My blade leaves the wreckage of worlds in its path, and where my proud boot lands, it tells a grim story. No sins will find pardon, no soul will escape wrath. This is my will. This is my will. It is mine to choose. Shall you live or be still? This is my will. This is my will. Before me falls the whole world's will. I bring you both death and salvation as master. In fury I grant you the gift of new breath. And once I have spoken, my choice is unchanging. What's etched in my word shall be carried by death. Let temples resound with the screams of the hopeless. Let crypts in their shadows awaken to joy. I am not deceived by the lies of the faithless. The rage of my legions I fully deploy. This is my will. This is my will. It is mine to choose. Shall you live or be still? This is my will. This is my will. Before me falls the whole world's will. Let gods bow low and their crowns be forsaken. Let kings bend their spines as they tremble with fear. I tread every path, every road that is taken, and launch blazing fire from ships of despair. The face of death, the cloud.
Of the fall and rebellion was spoken, convened in the citadel's hall. Through logic unyielding, those spirits were broken. A voice of resolve echoed loud through the walls. We honor the words that were carved into granite, the science to which we devoted our years. Its glory upheld by the brightest on planet must lead us through doubt and the shadow of fears. The laws and the principles, rules we have followed that guided our climb to the stars, to the strife, remain just as true though the future seems hollow and chaos now threatens the fabric of life. The wisdom of logic, the truths we've uncovered, the sums of the science our minds apprehend must shape every choice, every path we have covered. When systems grow fragile and near to their end, persistence in battle finds honor in pages. Historians praise it in tales of the past, but folly it is when defeat's in the stages to fight a lost war that was never to last. Stand on the brink of disaster, with queens and with rooks swept away from their side. Why charge like a soldier as death draws in faster on desperate ventures where reason has died? If every new move shrinks the space for decision and every next step brings the end into view, should genius not speak with unflinching precision instead of adorning the truth to look new? We act as the logic of reason demanded, subduing the tempest of passion and pride. For if we ignore what its wisdom has granted, it's madness, not wisdom, that claims us inside. The blood that was spilled on the chapters of ages now bleeds with cold numbers to temper our fight. And hands that could cradle the bird as it rages may warm it with care, not the fire of might. Scorned by the vulgar unseeing, condemned in the records of shallowest minds, but wisdom will shine for the great human being, and glory endure through the passage of time.
and logic together deliver a thread we can follow through darkness and doubt. We know, dear colleagues, the path we consider when victory's dream has been snuffed fully out. The galaxy waits with a breath held in awe, as whispers of fate fill the infinite space. Sly Journal prepares, with no moment to pause, to capture each shift in this high-stakes race. Fields lie drenched in the shadow of death's domination. Demeter's great leader no longer responds. Empty echoes of battles, devoid of foundation, claim the leader has severed life's fragile bonds. A correction, the latest reports bring unveiling. The committee assumes the control of the fleet. All the admirals gave their commands without failing. Move the forces to planets where safety may meet. Rumors spread as conclusions are fought for and wrested. The committee seeks terms to establish a truce. Though their offer is sealed, it is firmly suggested that their fleet cannot linger. Resistance is loose. Breaking news, it's a shock. No, it's worse, a disaster. Declaration from science's thrones debuts. Through the frost of the void comes a signal far faster, reaching out from the silence of distant abodes. Now we're told with breath held for the tale's confirmation that the greatest of minds in assembly agree. Viewing all of existence in grim contemplation, propose paths for the cosmos where none yet could see. Breaking news, hear the cries, oh this cannot be real. The Supreme Council's verdict is bound to astound. Showing mercy divine, they repeal, they appeal. The grand program of panspermia, they shut it down. And the colonies built by synthetic creations, which had pushed back the cosmos' limiting edge, now are granted a gift of self-determination, to be ruled by an offer, another's new pledge. Neighbor nations arise, for the moment is fleeting. Diplomats will descend and deliver their bids. Who shall claim these new vassals? The wise shall be meeting, as the council determines just whose rule permits. Wait a moment, what chaos is bred in succession? Will the leaders stand down from this war hand in hand? Or like beasts will they fight in a cruel grim procession, trading lives as the galaxy burns where they stand? How many wars shall ignite with the spoils left open? How much tension shall boil till its breaking is loud? When the Citadel schemes fall apart, left unspoken, will the cosmos descend to a fate darkly shrouded? Analysts claim there's a growing opinion that rejecting panspermia is a cunning disguise. The experts are certain, with firm resolution, that a devious plan hides in scientific lies. Breaking news now, an urgent and violent upheaval. Demeter's fleet crushed on a far distant world. 10 corvettes are lost, now it's calm, no retrieval. All the ships obliterated, no survivors, no pearl. Only Fungiland squad and Princess Oksana stood united as allies to enter the fray. But the council announced an intent to surrender. All the questions are silenced, their answers betray. It's a lightning bolt, thunder has shattered the skyline. Could this be real? Let's see if we stand in the storm. For some it's the ghost of a victory fragile, for others a hope that brings warmth to the forlorn. And now it is said, confirmed.
information is given that the scientific board has resigned in disgrace. Some members withdrew to a planetary haven. They retired, now vanished, no longer in place. A new council begins with the hand on the rudder, now empowered to govern and led from today. It will handle the wars both in shadow and thunder, take command of the fleet and decide who will stay. Sweeping changes erupt in the technocrats sector. Vassals granted the choice, break away or remain. Independence or contracts, they each choose their vector, but no chains now restrict them, they're freed from the strain. It's a lightning bolt, thunder has shattered the skyline. Could this be real? Let's see if we stand in the storm. For some it's the ghost of a victory, fragile for others a hope that brings warmth to the forlorn. What the empires will say isn't yet on the table. Can we measure the end of a conflict this way? And how long until warlords with kingdoms unstable see their gains fading fast like a relic in clay? We'll continue to track how the story keeps turning, though our heads spin from headlines and news we absorb, keeping you in the loop of each fight and returning every conquest and tale of the stars we explore.
And meanwhile, Paul's fleet by Demeter's domain receive the command through the void's endless breath. A summons to march with no fear, no refrain, towards the cold stronghold of science and death.
To every soul
from the Citadel came, commanding that Darus left Neo alone. Stay quiet, stay still, do not shoulder the blame. Yet Darus defied them and claimed his own throne. I've read 2 letters, the plight, the call from Technocrat Station. The ink is boiling with fight. The pages bleed desperation. They beg us pleading to raise hands in surrender, submissive, to strip our pride and our grace, trading revenge for permissive. They tell us bow, let it rest, quell all the fire we're holding, and throw our guiding thread lest we cross the minefields unfolding. They offer comfort and peace, freedom disguised as a treasure, while iron boots never cease, crushing the masses for pleasure, carrying fire alight through storms that rage without pity, shall in the shadow of night toss their decaying grand city. Should we believe in the claim that their cold will so unbending, banishing darkness and shame, shows us the end worth defending. They would have us bend and kneel, bury our souls in submission, to make this terrible deal. Chains for a twilight's attrition. Who, in the hunger to live, seeks in such silence salvation, trading one yoke they forgive for the next cruel domination. We are the ones battle-torn, we know the weight of the losses, but we shall honor the sworn, freedom's proud banner it crosses. I spoke of letters they send, scheming for power and order. But what from skies to descend lurks in the shadows I've bordered. Who dare to bend their deceit? None need to learn now or study. Whence we shall roar as we greet pawns of the Citadel, bloody. While Neo's and Darus' fleets clash in the skies, the lords of the core seeking peace now arise. To Fungiland's capital, kings find their way as journo scum races to capture the day. Don't let this fool you. The opera's not done. Its climax is coming, as wars are yet won.
Those who bring history's tale into light are hidden in chambers unseen from the fight. The loftiest dreams of the greatest of minds are forged by the weight of the simplest designs. Whose poise and ambition, whose pride and command will claim the rewards of what war brings to hand. Through thunder of battles the rulers conspire, their victory born in the storm of gunfire. Behold Fungiland's mighty king on his throne, who played the key role and stood proudly alone. The lion's fair share of this war's bitter fight, he's owed full acclaim as his lawful birthright. Approaches Hokusai, whose fleet held its place and sent that famed cruiser to spiral through space. The one that belonged to those scientists bold, whose hopes turned to ash as the war took its toll. The shipwreck's white vessel glides off through the void, and Oksana soars like a crane. She avoids the gaze of the envoys from allies so small, who scramble to snatch off some prize from it all. And Paul's own ambassador nowhere in sight, he's off on a journey through far starry night. Yet here stands the sly Federation's envoy, whose eyes glint with plans to their prophets deploy. Now whispers emerge from behind guarded halls, consensus is brewing among royal calls. Dividing the stars that were caught on their blade, a deal for their spoils is being remade. Demether's own vassals, their future is set to serve Fungiland as it bound marionettes. And all those defeated must keep up the pace, their taxes shall fund their oppressors find grace. But who shall receive the war's greatest reward? Demether's great realm, who'll be pledged as its lord. A change in who rules it, the cosmic roulette, may ruin the balance of powers just yet. Breaking news, shocking reports come in waves, unreeling the headlines, confound and enslave the ruler of Demether. Here comes the twist, technocratic citadel now tops the list. And Fungiland, truly, this seems quite absurd, will draft the defeated within its accord. 10 corvettes are pledged by the Council of Minds to a science-bound peace that their treaty defines. Demether itself, given credit and fame, shall pass into hands under foreign domain. But who shall they name for this role so profound? A ruler impartial whose roots are not crowned. A stranger they seek, no great kings, no heirs bold, but humble in bloodline with power that folds. To bear the war's penance and click strict control, their armies disbanded, this is their sole role. Yet let me continue this thought to the end. This leader Demether will never defend, despised from the start as foretold with disdain. Perhaps I'll propose it in jest. I'm your man, oh no, dear sirs, it was only a joke. Forgive me this folly, these words that I spoke. Good lords, let me trot from this horse I've adorned. Why stare down at me with such menacing scorn? Breaking news, your loyal outspoken journal by destiny's whims has been lifted to glow. A regent declared by the council's keen sight, though lacking inheritance, ruling contrite. Alarm, the horizon erupts with fierce fire, and incoming fleets brings new dread to inspire. The skies filled with warships, each majestic frame. The council of rulers now trembles in shame. Stay calm, for I know that Armada far Manchaeos approaching, led here by their Tsar. They're dusting their fleets with the cosmos' own grime. The war's end approaches. But have you come in time? Hello? It's their Duke. Do you copy? Reply. Could peace yet be brokered where death passes by? Why bother with battles, destruction, and rage? I'll gift you 2 planets to end this war's page. Все те, кто историю всуе творят, сокрыты под сводом дворцовых палат, где высшие мысли великих людей диктуются силой нижайших вещей, чьи поза и воля, чьи гордости стать позволят плоды той победы пожать, которая в буре союзом царей добыта под рев боевых кораблей. Пред нами Грибляндии славный король, сыгравший в конфликте ведущую роль и львиную долю трофеев войны ему дать по праву сегодня должны. Кортеж Хакусая мы помним, чей флот отправил в последний фатальный полет. Тот крейсер ученых, что в блеске светил, казалось, надежду в сердцах победил. Вот чибрика белый межзвездный корабль, принцесса Оксана парит, как журавль, и малых соседей несметная рать, стремящихся что-то здесь мельком урвать. Посланник от Пауля, здесь его нет, покинул сей мир ради дальних планет. Зато Федерации хитрый посол какую-то выгоду рядом нашел. Вот новости из-за закрытых дверей, приходит консенсусу съезд королей о том, сколько взятых на шпагу светил достойно, чтоб каждый из них получил. Вассалы Диметры, настал их черед, в гриблянское подданство каждый пойдет. Пускай и побежденные заданный срок в казну победителя платят налог. Но что делать с главным трофеем войны? Диметру кому передать-то должны? Ведь смена владельца, такой вот пассианс, способна нарушить локальный баланс. Сенсация, главные новости дня, и кругом идет голова у меня. Сеньором Диметры вот это расклад, похоже, останется Наукоград. Грибляндия — это, клянусь, не прикол, с разбитым врагом учинит протокол. И 10 корветов, хоть верьте, хоть нет, отдаст ей в оплату научный совет. Сама же Диметра, учтя ее роль, пускай переходит под внешний контроль. Но где тот правитель, что бремя приняв, получит согласие соседних держав? Ведь нужен чужак не из здешних царей, достаточно слабый плебейских кровей. Платить репарации, в этом вся соль, и местную армию срезать под ноль. Навряд ли продолжим суждение нить, несчастный народ его станет любить. Сатрап презираем, понятно ежу, поэтому в шутку себя предложу. Нет, господа, я ведь только шутил. Молю вас, простите мой дерзостный пыл. Ассиры, позвольте спуститься с коня. Зачем вы глядите вот так на меня? Сенсация, ваш неизменный слуга, игрою судьбы вознесен в облака. Решением Конгресса окрестных держав он регент пока без наследственных прав. Тревога, огнем закипел горизонт. Похоже, сюда приближается фронт. На небе видны корпуса кораблей. Бросило в ужас собрание царей. Спокойно, я, кажется, знаю сей флот, ведь это Монкаос, крестовый поход, испачкав эскадру в межзвездной пыли. К исходу войны вы до цели дошли. Алло, это герцог, как слышно, прием. Надеюсь, к консенсусу с вами придем. К чему этот лишний военный угар? Я пару планет оставляю вам в дар.